Hey dudes, Archman here again. Thanks for all the comments about that native video. I never even really thought I would ever talk about knives on the internet. It's kind of silly, but why not? Should. So a couple people asked about the Sebenza and the SnG that I had in the other video, so I thought I would talk a little bit about it. There's all kinds of heated discussion, there always is, about these two knives because everybody's proud of them and all that stuff. And I have both of them, so I just thought I would talk about both of them at the same time. Basically, here's the two beasts in question here. Got the SnG here and the large Sebenza here. So I'll just kind of get right down to it. The similarities obviously are fit, finish, quality, construction, materials, all that stuff are superb. These are both premium knives. Most people would think you're a lunatic for owning either one if you told them how much they cost. So that's interesting in itself. But so what I would talk about here is which one would I, if I had to sell one, which one would it be? Which one would I keep and why? So the Sebenza, you guys, I consider this Sebenza I've had for like 5 years, okay, and I've been a carrier of Sebenzas for almost 8 years. All right, so I know a thing or two about these knives, basically, and I've also owned near a dozen and had dozens pass through my hands. So just a couple things about this Sebenza is this knife it basically is just the perfect cutting tool is what it all boils down to. Okay, I would call it like if you got to look at 100 Benchmades and pick the best one, this would be it. It'd be like, well, this one's perfect. This is the one that's perfect. But with Chris Reeve knives, you don't have to do that. You pay a premium, and every one of them are perfect. Okay. And that's just kind of the deal. Fit and finish, quality, the blade grinds, the edge, all that stuff, they're perfect and just really ideal, most things considered. Now this knife, I would consider it also as, like I said, the perfect cutting tool. It's good for anything, whether it's your morning bagel, using it to cut zip ties, open packages, slice rope, whatever it is you might need it for day to day, or just once a week, or just having, something that, is an example of perfection and just having pride in carrying that. That's cool too. So basically, the Sebenza is just, using it in the kitchen, whatever, perfect cutter, probably better. It's, the number one function of a knife than the SnG is. So that's a little bit about the Sebenza. The Strider SnG is, I guess it's more of a tactical knife. You might consider it's designed for multiple different holds, things like that. It's kind of one of the primary aspects of it. Now, what I see when I look at the Strider SnG is what Mick Strider's done is he's kind of taken aspects of a lot of the best aspects of other companies' ideas and put it into the SnG. I think he kind of took the Sebenza's frame lock and just really thick, robust slab of titanium and used that. And then I believe he's also taken things from Spyderco, like the hole opening, and also just the use of the G10 and the linerless simplicity of the G10 side, which I really like. I think that's awesome. Makes it really light and functional. And then maybe even a little nod to Ed Hallingen's Kiss knife to keep it super simple, in which the whole knife's handle frame and all the structure is just based on one side of the handle, leaving the other blade exposed on the other side. This one takes that a step further and adds the G10 covering the blade and providing a great handle also at the same time. So that's kind of where I think maybe this knife kind of its roots, how its roots were established. Then he did a couple other things. He put this really thick bull pivot in there and made that really super strong. Took what is known as a weak link, in all folding knives, and made it as strong as possible. A lot of people say, I wouldn't carry a knife that's broken in the middle, because that's a weak link right there. And then also he kind of took nods from some other companies like Microtech, and some of their knives uses, instead of a stop pin inside the handle, they go ahead and put a stop pin in the blade. Now this one does not rely on any kind of threads or anything like that. This pin right here is press fit into a hole that it barely fits in the blade. Okay, so it's not going anywhere. It's not relying on little screw threads or anything like that. And that is as robust and strong as any stop pin could ever be. That's a little titanium pin there also. So that's pretty cool. Ridiculously robust, okay? Whereas the Sebenza stop pin is more standard. That's the Sebenza stop pin right there. It's screwed in, and it does fit into the handle in a manner which doesn't particularly rely on the screws, because the actual shaft of the Chicago screw there does fit perfectly into both scales, and it slides into both. So I mean, it's as strong as you could pretty much ask for anyway. But it is screwed in. It has little threads on there, smaller screw. So that's one thing to consider. Everybody says it, and I believe it's true. The SnG is the more robust design, okay? So that's also another thing that appeals to me. The warranty of the SnG is, supposedly outstanding. I haven't had to deal with it, but like Chris Reeve knives, they say, if you open the blade like that, flick it open, is what they kind of call that. That voids the warranty. It's too hard on the knife, which I can't understand how that could be too hard on the knife. Because just like practicing, manipulating, opening and closing your EDC carry knife, I think is important. You should know how to open it, close it, manipulate it in your hand, and get it out and use it if your foot's stuck in some rope or something like that, like what I might face working on the river myself. But who knows why you might need to open it in a hurry in a situation of stress. So I think it's important to know how to manipulate it and have it in your hand in any situation anyway, and get it open and use it. So you should play with the knife. If it can't handle that and it'll wear out, well, it sucks if they're not going to honor it, that being worn out. Strider, I don't think, would ask you any questions at all about that. Chris Reeve knives may say, well, geez, have you been flicking the knife, or are you opening it a little harder than we want you to? And that's kind of upsetting. I don't think that's super cool. As far as like the communities that I participate in, I've never heard anybody dissatisfied with Chris Reeve knives warranty service. So I don't think it'd be an issue per se. But like, say if I was going camping or anything like that, bottom line, if I had to choose one knife over the other, it probably, considering value, I would probably choose the SnG over the Sebenza. Now, if there's one thing that I might lose with that trade-off, it could be just the sheer cutting ability, edge geometry, and the great slicing design that the Sebenza is. It's just a great knife. But in that situation, maybe I might just go ahead and buy like a Spyderco. The native that I have is fine, but in that, maybe a military or something along those lines. I have this little guy, $100 knife, which is cheap in comparison with these other two. And this thing is going to cut just as good as the Sebenza is, which I think is its the best thing that it offers. So I don't know if that's helpful or not, guys. I just kind of wanted to talk about my viewpoints on the issue, and that's kind of the deal. One more thing before I run out of time is I think the ball detent on the Strider is better than the ball detent on the Sebenza, but that's it. Thanks guys for watching, and leave a comment if you will, good or bad.